Hey, we're saints. Welcome to our crucifixional live stream on the road. Father Chris, Father Greg, we are coming to you live from the Antiochian Village in Ligonier, Pennsylvania, which is a retreat and conference center and a summer camp for our archdiocese, the Antiochian Archdiocese of North America. Today, Father Greg and I are going to talk about networking and building the village. Glad to have you all with us. We are just going to go with it and go where it goes. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm great. We have these little mics because we have to hold them close so you can hear.
It's our travel setup.
Our travel setup. Anyway, so Father Greg, tell us a story. What are we doing here? Why are you and I here, and how does it play into the village?
So it's actually interesting. We're at the village,
Right.
talking about the village.
Right.
So we're at the clergy symposium for the Antiochian Archdiocese, where all the priests from around the country gather together in one place, which is called the Antiochian Village, to be together, get to know each other, be taught, be able to have meetings with our metropolitan who's showing us a few things about how he wants things done and all of that. But most important, I think, in this whole experience for me, this is my first time being here, being newly ordained and all of this. It's been fascinating to have opportunities to interact with each other. And the downtime in many ways has been, for me, the most important time, because it's an opportunity for us to continue building our networks, talk to each other, see what everyone else is dealing with, talk about what we're doing, talk about what they're doing, learn from each other. And it's really in those opportunities for networking that I think the beauty of this week together really happens.
I agree with you. We were talking about that with a few brothers. We went out to dinner with a small group of us last night and then just hung out in the evening, and it was great. We had a ball together, and the comment was the educational component is great. Doing the services is obviously great. Learning from our hierarchs, but is also great. But the real benefit, or at least joy, that we found was just the camaraderie. You know, like you were saying. And I also found it interesting that I've been, in the Archdiocese for almost 30 years, and there are now so many new people that I do not know.
Yeah.
And so it's an opportunity so you could see it would be an opportunity to become closed off.
Yeah.
Or if you are willing to get out there and stick out your hand and greet someone, that you can meet new people. In our case, in this conference, new priests. Where are they? Where are they serving? What interesting pastoral considerations are they dealing with? What are some, you can start to learn a lot from people. The other thing I noticed, and towards your point of the village, as we grow our networks, particularly for Project 78, as we focus on family, we went through, you and I already discussed about how important it is to have the nuclear family and then the extended village, i.e. grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles. Now we go to the next layer, which is the church village. And I'm going to end with this and let you say some words on it. But one thing we talked about last night with the fellows we were sitting with, the priests, that there are 0 states in our union that I could not travel to, you could not travel to, and not know someone.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing because we have people.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we have people, and this becomes an opportunity to have more people. It
just sounded great.
Because people who need people, they're the luckiest people. But there was something you just said, and then my mind started wandering, so I apologize. But it was how with Project 78, like there are so many things and so many aspects of Project 78 that if you think about this week, we're actually able to see being played out throughout the week. So the idea is that the nuclear family is under assault, right? And we see the clergy brotherhood as a brotherhood. I mean, the reference is always that the metropolitan is our father and that we're all a band of brothers, for lack of a better term. But we keep using that term over and over again. The brothers, hey, the brotherhood. If you look around at how that actually is playing out within the course of the week, they keep asking us to leave the room when it's time for meals to be over, because each table of brothers is shifting every meal. They're sitting with different people and they're learning from each other and talking to each other. And nobody wants to leave the table fellowship because so many awesome conversations are happening around the table.
Do you think that's, sorry to cut you off, but do you think that last statement, awesome conversations, are because we are all of similar mind? I mean, obviously as priests, we are all of similar jobs, if you want to call it a job, but that if I can use these words, value system, the ethic that we have, the mindset is all the same. And so in other words, we found, as you said earlier, my people.
I think I'm going to say something controversial. I would say that there is a similar foundation. There is a similar background, but I would not think that we are all of the similar mind. I think we're all approaching similar topics from different perspectives, with different experiences, and with different goals in mind. And I think that's why the table fellowship has become so important, because it's become an opportunity for us to see and interact with someone that maybe is not of the same mind as ourselves, that maybe we wouldn't normally be interacting with, because we have that predisposed thought that, well, they're different than me, so I'm not going to hang out with them. But because it's all a brotherhood and we all have that same foundation, we are sitting there and finding out that we're actually able to have real conversations,
right,
and healthy conversations and adult conversations. So I think it's playing out some of the stuff that we've been talking about with Project 78 in a real way, because it's showing you how to have healthy disagreements. What happens if you're approaching a topic and you're disagreeing about that topic? How are you going to have that conversation? Where's it going to go? And it just becomes I'm having a beautiful experience because of these things, because we're able to see it play out.
I love it. It's, I think that's essential, very important, obviously, and that's one of the things that we will address in Project 78 coming up, is how to have healthy disagreements and not let it become strife, right?
Yeah.
The other interesting thing, you and I both know this, in our lives, having been connected to the larger village, i.e. the local church, the diocesan church, and the diocese of which we're part of, and then our archdiocese, and even in some sense global. I mean, there are, you and I both have, part of our village global. That being said, it's now fascinating to see my kids and my friends' kids become friends. And so what I'm seeing, I'm sure you're seeing similar things too, that the larger family village that we're a part of has been so instrumental and formative in our lives, and now to see it go to the next layer or the next generation is awesome, to be to be quite honest. And what I think what's important about that is that as we are striving to be the biblical family and reclaim what we have known, that you got to have that village.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean that we can't have friends outside of our church, but for heaven's sakes, the closest ones better be in the church. You know what I mean? Because, and this is why I was saying the same mind. Yes, we disagree, but the reference and the foundation of faith is there.
Yes. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
All right.
The reference of faith, the foundation, the background, it informs how we approach everything that we're doing. Yeah. And it also gives us opportunities. It gives us great opportunities. I mean, the people that I am closest with, that I'm spending time with here, I've known for years, and I've known through that networking, through that, and now, like you said, seeing friends and their kids being friends with each other is fun. I mean, we saw that at dinner last night. Yeah,
for sure. And we broke Project 78. I'm sure you all, who are watching know this already, but we've broken it down into three distinct stages, three movements, we're calling them: rooted, raised, and repeated. Yeah. And the rooted is obviously connected to where we come from. And so what you and I have been given by generations beyond us, we are now being raised in. We're living that. And our duty is then to repeat that to the next generation based on Psalm 78. Like in verse 5, it says, that the Lord commanded us to tell our children that the coming generations might know. And so in some sense, what we've been given beautiful warrior saints, it's also your duty and responsibility to live it and then pass that to the next generation, which is why I think it's so fun to see our kids and our friends' kids, becoming connected, because hopefully then they will take that to their next generation.
Without question. It's a beautiful thing. And it's, I don't know. It's fun for me seeing how Project 78 is playing out in real time and seeing it everywhere. This framework is life.
Yeah.
And if you let it do what it needs to do, it actually becomes life-giving. It actually becomes a way for us to really be transformed and become different.
Right, for sure. I think the main thesis is that we see the biblical family, the idea of traditional family under assault, and many people feel it, sense it in all the forms, right? Whether it's against an individual, against generations gone by, against marriage, all this. And the point is because ultimately there is an assault against God, right? I mean, because God is an authority who says, hey, don't do that. And we live in this society where that they want, total autonomy. Freedom, someone said, my friend said, the unfettered access of self. Sorry, unfettered excess of self. So with God being under assault, of course those images of him in the world would be under assault. And the family, I believe, and this is really our thesis of Project 78, the family is an image of how the Trinity functions in the world. And so the family is the vehicle that carries God's story across the ages. And so therefore, you better believe the family is going to be under assault. I mean, if they're going after God, they're going to go after those who represent and try to live according to his, his arc, his story. And so this is why it's so crucial, because I like those words. I'm going to say it again. The family is the vehicle that carries God's story across the ages. The biblical family, So this is why it's so important. This is why we're fighting for it. This is what I think people want too. I mean, we hear it, thank God, all over the place. Hey, great stuff, great stuff. Keep going. And we're going to keep going. We're going to try. But it just tells you that it's an important, people are hungry, for that reclamation.
Yeah, because they need it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a huge topic in our small group discussions this week.
Right.
Is the breaking down of nuclear family and what happens when the family's not there. What role does the church play in doing all of that? And as warrior saints, we understand that that's why this networking stuff becomes so important.
Yeah.
Someone actually said that they were watching our stuff and really impressed with what we're doing because of how what we're doing is actually directly going after reclaiming that family and bringing everyone into that family so that we have a network, we have a place, and we have a village.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very kind, whoever said that, but keep us in prayers.
Yeah.
It's, Father Greg, I mean, I guess the most important takeaway from this is that it is important for us, whoever our audience may be, to make sure that we're building our village, building a larger network of, not always in agreement, but like-minded, warrior saints. And then to make sure we start to be very deliberate in giving that to the next generation. And you can't force kids to like other kids, and I understand that. The friendships have to be organic in some sense, right? But it is incumbent upon the family to make sure that the children are placed in those environments, right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't force the relationship, but you can give opportunities for the relationship to form, as you said, organically.
Right. Yeah. In other words, short and long of it, you got to take them to church and keep them involved in church things. I mean, we don't take our children or ourselves to church as an obligation, though we are obliged, but we send them there because of the fruit that God gives to us when he feeds us with his word, and then he helps us build this community. And really, I mean, that's the whole idea of church anyways. Embedded in the word church is an assembly of people. The original term, it means an assembly of people who are all coming together in oneness, and for us as Orthodox Christians, that oneness is around the Lord's table and his word become flesh, which we partake of. You know what I mean? Anyways, great stuff.
Great.
Love it. Love you, beautiful people. We're going to keep coming back to you. We're not coming after you with Project 78, which is reclaiming the biblical family. So join us. Stay tuned for more. We'll see you for Orthros and Liturgy. And as always, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.